Hello and welcome to the Flourishing Introvert Talks with me, Jo Rawbone. This is the podcast that celebrates the natural gifts of introverts so that we can flourish in all situations. Episode 231, The Frustration of Groundhog Day. I wonder when you'll decide that you're not going to live by their rules anymore. As introverts, we have typically lived by a system of rules designed not to empower us, but to shape us into acceptable, compliant, and non-threatening versions of who others want us to be. It's the same thing every day. 6 o'clock alarm that never ends. Fighting with the grumpy-looking people for a seat on the morning commute because working from home is now frowned upon. Yep, presenteeism is more important than productivity, it seems. As you sit at your desk, you hear the same greeting from your colleagues. What did you do last night? You ponder. Do you create an elaborate lie or tell the truth, which is, I collapsed in the chair and woke up to go to bed? You often wonder if you told a tale about being abducted by aliens, whether they'd say, that's nice, I went out and partied, blah, 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 blah. Then you're expected to attend the morning meeting, even though you never get a look in. Patrick makes sure of that, as he never stops droning on and everyone just wants to get on with their work. This is followed by spending all day on virtual calls that you could have done from home, getting criticised for not laughing at Phil's or Fiona's jokes, and being told you're taking their snide remarks too seriously. All this before trying to leave the office so you at least get home in time for supper at a reasonable hour. Tomorrow, you wake up to the 6 o'clock alarm again, hoping desperately that today will be different. But no, it's just rinse and repeat. And even the most cynical amongst us know that doing the same thing and expecting a different result is absolute madness. For an ambitious introvert, this is the ultimate nightmare, an endless loop of mind-numbing stagnation. But don't despair. In this episode, I'm sharing my slightly irreverent but very practical 7-step guide to breaking out of the Groundhog Day hamster wheel. Step 1. The realization. This occurs when you decide that you're not going to live by these rules anymore. It has to change because living this way is crushing your spirit and causing so much frustration that you're not nice to live with. Heck, even you don't enjoy being with you. So you make the commitment to awaken your inner rebel and start making your own rules. Step 2. New beginnings. You set your alarm for 6:15 so you can start to change your habits. You heard on a podcast once that it takes between 18 to 254 days to change a habit based on the complexity. Well, this one's not too complex, so you're hoping it'll be closer to the 66-day average. Your years of conditioning have other ideas though, and you wake just before 6. Damn. To lie there until 6:15 or get up anyway? It seems Groundhog Day has won again. So you decide to try again tomorrow. Step 3. You decide it's time for some tactical experimentation. The same podcast where you heard about the habits also mentioned that intentional change requires experimentation. So on the next day, you stay in bed until 6:15, which means you get to see different people on the commute. You notice the surprised look on people's faces when you arrive later than usual. The change of faces and different reactions awakens your desire for more changes. You know this is just the beginning. Is this what people mean when they say, start small, but just start? You guess so. At this point, I want to share Donna Ashworth's piece called Awakening from her book Wild Hope. It resonated with me, and I'm pretty sure it will resonate with many of you caught in a groundhog situation, regardless of how you identify. Donna wrote, "The older I get, the more I realise that all this talk of women having gone mad is actually just women waking up one day, smelling the coffee and feeling furious. Furious that they twisted themselves like a pretzel all those years trying to conform to what others wanted them to be. Furious that they didn't say no more, or more to the point, that they didn't say hell no more. Furious that they didn't say yes more, that they didn't feel they could put themselves first. Furious that their feelings, their emotions, their desires were branded as hormonal all these years, as a lame excuse to fob them off and not face up to bad behaviour. And no, this is not just the menopause. This is called awakening. The older I get, the more I realise that no, women are not going mad. In fact, they are becoming very, very sane indeed." Stirred now? Okay, let's press on. Step 4. Having had a few days of tactical experimentation, you decide it's time for more radical changes. Your inner rebel has well and truly joined the party, and you're starting to have fun. It's like a game, but this time you're playing by your rules, and you're making them up as you go and even changing them. It's all part of the continued experimentation. You offer to chair the morning meeting. That should take care of Patrick. You decide to use a conditional no when asked to stay late and pick up the pieces of a stalled project. You hear yourself saying, "No, staying late doesn't work for me today. I will come in earlier tomorrow morning though, so I can look at it with fresh eyes and renewed energy. I think we're all a bit jaded right now. Will you start earlier with me too?" Who even am I, you think to yourself, whilst being secretly really proud of who you're being. Step 5. Getting comfortable with the chaos. By now you've stopped being freaked out when changes are suggested or imposed. You either accept them or you decline, but you notice you don't get stressed like you used to. You've done some work around being braver, and it's paying off big time. Looking back, you can see just how much you've expanded your comfort zone, and you know there's more to come. And what's even more curious is that you're kind of excited by it. Learning how to focus your energy on what you can control first and then on what you can influence has enabled you to let go of so many of your frustrations. It's a paradoxical mix of control and chaos. Step 6. Finding deeper meaning. You've noticed that others are now starting to ask you for advice more because apparently you're handling things so calmly now. Wow, you didn't see that coming, and yet there's an inevitability to it. You've never been inspired by frantic, inconsistent leaders, but you thought that was just you. Evidently not. Others around you are responding well to your calm, measured, pragmatic approach to the chaos. You're reflecting carefully and overtly on what is happening around you, and you're encouraging others to do the same. The leader in you is emerging like a phoenix from the ashes. It seems you had to burn the edifice of the old you in order to birth who you're destined to be. Step 7. Scrapping the hamster wheel. Looking back, you realise that these steps have taken you close to the 256 days, so you now appreciate that change of this nature takes a while to embed. Sticky change, they call it, and you're thankful that it's less dizzying and exhausting than being on the hamster wheel, going nowhere fast and running at a pace determined by others. You were tempted to give yourself a hard time for not jumping off earlier, but you decided that it wouldn't help. So you didn't go there. Instead, you chose to be thankful for how far you've come and how this is still just the beginning of bigger things. You know it's time to ceremoniously put the hamster wheel on the scrap heap. So what's the big lesson here? It turns out that being stuck in Groundhog Day taught you that bravery, adaptability and creativity are key to your success and fulfillment. You faced the ultimate introvert challenge and emerged stronger, wiser and more grounded. You've learned to find joy in the present, to embrace the journey and to balance ambition with mindful action. As you move forward, carry these lessons with you so you don't acquire a new hamster wheel. You've proven that even in the face of endless repetition, an ambitious introvert can adapt, break free, and ultimately flourish. So next time you feel stuck in a rut, remember the lessons of Groundhog Day. And if all else fails, try mismatched socks. They seem to work every time. Now, to honour your newfound leadership status, you prepare a message to share with those still caught up in the repeating patterns, and it's more profound than triod socks. It goes something like this. The reality is, you too could wait until you're sufficiently fed up with the interminable Groundhog Day, exhausted to the point of dropping by the hamster wheel of routine, and now unsure of who you are or what value you bring. Or you could make a change now. You could start today. There's really nothing better than starting today. I'll close this episode with another piece from Donna Ashworth's Wild Hope, this time about hope. When it's all falling apart, when the only thing you have left is hope, you have all you need. I urge you to be the reason that people, including you, have hope today. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, then please subscribe, rate us and leave a comment, because we know that helps other people find the podcast. And if other people find us, other introverts can flourish.
You are listening to an Intentional Media Production podcast.